Jonah, you're late.
But Izaak, how can I be late if time doesn't exist?
Tiptop talking time.
Wow.
We have our water.
That's not good
Yep.
water. This is good water.
It is decent.
Yeah, but it's bad.
We're gonna talk about time. Yep, I'm Izaak.
Yes, you are. I'm Jonah. And
We're gonna start with creation. So, crap, I forgot to get up my facts.
Izaak, you can't do a swear. This is Christian.
So in the beginning... You right there?
Thank God for editing.
Okay, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and then he created light, and then he separated light from darkness and called the light day and the darkness night. Day 2, he created a firmament over the...
What's that?
Day 2, he created a firmament, also known as a vault, also known as the sky, to separate waters from beneath from the waters from above, which is really confusing, because, like, what are the waters above, Jonah?
The clouds, because there's moisture in them.
But
I don't know, maybe.
The clouds are in the sky, though. That's the question. Well,
Yeah.
that's a statement.
But there are clouds that are, like, above the sky. Like, what is the sky? Where does the sky end? There are clouds that, like, you can't see because they're so high up in the atmosphere.
Day 3, he
Did some other stuff.
created vegetation, and day 5, he creates the water creatures of all kinds and the birds of the sky.
And it was good. Should
Okay.
have just used the Bible.
And then he created all the land animals, and then he created man and woman, and then, yeah, the 7th day, he rested, had a good sleep, or, yeah.
Yeah. Good
So
sleep.
that's the creation, that's the start of time from I don't know if it's your belief.
Depends. I don't know. I mean, it can be taken literally, or it could be taken not literally. I don't necessarily have a belief on it either way, I guess. I think, I don't know, it's not something that really is relevant to me. I mean, it could be 7 days because it says it's 7 days, so why wouldn't it be? At the same time, like, God operates outside of time, so 7 days isn't really a big deal for him.
Yes. 7 days, it says...
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
2 Peter 3:8. But do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is 1 day.
God created time. Time is the one thing that those who do not believe in God, well, how can you explain time if God doesn't exist? It all started from a star exploding, and then stardust went everywhere, and then rocks formed, and then somehow water got there, and then bacteria happened, and then bacteria turned into animals, and then humans happened. That's what
Very scientific explanation right there, folks.
That's yes, the guy in the poncho that does science.
Yes.
Like my Facebook page, it says I'm a scientist.
Was that you trying to describe evolution and the Big Bang?
Well, that's my short version of it, hearing it from the person I called last night asking for an explanation. Anyway, I clapped. But the question is, where did that star that exploded come from? Why was it there?
I could give a few reasons. First of all, maybe there wasn't a star that exploded. Maybe God just created all the humans like it says in the Bible. Or there's another theory that I've heard. I don't know the professional specific name of it, but it's kind of like a combination of like God creating the universe and evolution, and it's like God did create the universe in the way that people imagine the Big Bang, and basically like all like the bacteria or whatever you want to call it, like slowly evolving into animals, evolving into humans. That was God molding humans basically, and that's like another way to look at the creation story, is it is this Big Bang. And most people assume that the Big Bang and God can't go together, but really it can, because, well, it's God, he can do anything.
It was something like creation evolutionism or something.
Something like that.
Like, yeah, my uncle, I think that's something around, I believe that is, I believe that would be around what my uncle believes. What was the third answer?
the Big Bang was real and God doesn't exist.
Except that's not what I believe.
Or me, I believe God exists.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just the third answer that I came up with.
Yes. The question is, why does time exist? People might explain how things exist, but why do things exist? There's a reason behind everything. I can say that not everything is a coincidence, because some things are a coincidence, but you can't just say that everything is a coincidence, because that's ridiculous, because I can plan to go and pick up that salt thing over there.
Wow, what a coincidence that happened.
Yeah, some things just can't be a coincidence, and everything, I believe, happens with a reason behind it. I could say everything happens for a reason, but then you could take that the wrong way and just say, I picked up this Bible, there's a reason behind that.
And that was to prove the point that everything has a reason. Here's another thing. Does time even exist?
That's something I looked into and researched.
It's a pretty deep question.
This is what I wrote about a week ago. Some people believe time doesn't exist, it's all just an estimate. Well, if you look at the stars, they have a set movement, something that takes time. You have to wait for them to get from one place to the other. If there was no time, Interstellar, for example, spoilers, he ends up in a room full of everything that happened in a room. If time didn't exist, the world and existence would be very much like that. God's outside of time, and he can see everything that happened, is happening, and is going to happen. Everything that happened is turned into stone. Everything that's happening, well, I don't really have an element in mind for that. Sand. Yes. High five. But then everything that's going to happen is like water or air, because water and air can tend to change. Do you want to read a really repetitive Bible verse I got?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ecclesiastes.
That's how you pronounce it.
3:1-8. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing.
So the Bible very much talks about time there, and that is a little bit of evidence that time very much exists. It's not saying there's the job to plant something and the job to pluck what is planted, but it says there is a time. Most people, when I bring up time, will think of clocks and watches and people counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What time is it? It's 2:56. I should be at school, but I'm a rebel.
And I should not be at school because I dropped out. Yeah. One of the biggest questions that is asked to a Christian / someone that believes in a God is, where did God come from? Where did God come from?
Where did God come from?
Where did God come from?
Where didn't God come from? Because he's everywhere.
Exactly. See, in Exodus, God says to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am sent me to you. So God just is. That's the way it works. Just like time in a way. So God exists outside of time, where he can watch time take its place.
I have a thing to say.
Yep. Say that.
Because you know how God exists outside of time, and he's like this crazy dude who can like understand like everything. He knows like everything. Whereas humans, we're kind of limited. So God invented time to give us a way of comprehending everything that happens. I reckon that's why time exists. I just made that up then. Time exists so that we have a passage that we can like continue through and like learn and understand things, even because we can't be like God and we can't just know everything. We have to learn it.
God created time and existence because before that, even though there was no before time technically, because time didn't exist before time did exist, in the beginning there was nothing. Like there wasn't even space, there wasn't even stars, there was pure darkness, and there wasn't even darkness, there was nothing.
But there was God.
There was God, the Holy Spirit. God got rid of the nothingness by creating something. Creation versus evolution. If you get a piece of paper and a pen and you write something on the piece of paper, it makes sense. With your knowledge, you make sense.
1 + 1 = 2.
Yes, that is logic, that makes sense, that has meaning. But if you get a piece of paper, chuck the ink onto the paper, what do you get? Tell me, Jonah, what do you get?
Lots of random ink on paper. Like, it doesn't make sense because you've just flicked everything everywhere.
Yeah, exactly, it's just a blotch of ink. You can't read anything out of it, you can't get anything out of it except for it just being a blotch of ink. And if you compare the blotch of ink to a sentence or a maths equation, the maths equation or the sentence has meaning, it makes sense. Whereas the blotch of ink, it doesn't. That's creation and evolution. Creation, God used his knowledge to make everything. Whereas if the Big Bang happened, it's like, how? Or why?
Yeah, how is everything this, like, precise? And how
Yes.
did we end up with, like, how is the Earth so, like, perfectly in orbit around the sun that we don't, like, burn up or freeze to death literally by, like, the tiniest amount? Like, I can't remember it because I don't have good memory for that kind of thing. But, like, we're in such a specific position in the universe that allows for Earth to have life on it. And even just, like, the way that humans work, like, the way our heart is designed, the way our brain is designed, like, that's so specific.
And oxygen and gravity and water as well. It's also perfectly here for us. How could it just be a random thing? Well, I believe we should wrap it up there, don't you reckon? Well, join us next week where we might have more of an idea of what we're talking about.
That's unlikely.
We might get better.
Maybe.
Tiptop talking time. Feel free to prove us wrong, to disagree with us.
I don't necessarily agree with everything I said. I mean, I might change my mind. Like, my views are always, like, I like constantly getting new ideas, and, like, the whole, like, creation, evolution thing, like, I don't necessarily believe that, but I don't necessarily disbelieve it either. So if you guys have ideas, I'm willing to listen to them, and I'll probably talk about them, because I like just presenting ideas and seeing what other people think about them, really.
I'll be happy to respond to comments, even though I don't usually get any. Well, see you later. How do you end a video?
Peace
in a good
out.
way? Peace.
Chicka
God-
chicka chow.
God bless you all.